of living than we do. My father came to this country without a nickel in his pocket, never made any money. But his dream, as many of your parents' dreams were, that his kids would do a little bit better than he did. And my brother and I were the first in the family to go to college. They were very proud. My parents were very proud of that. And now, because of the disastrous trade policy, which was resulted in the loss of tens of thousands of factories in this country as our jobs go to China, as a result of economic policies which have given huge tax breaks to the wealthiest people in this country, while cutbacks have taken place in many, many programs that the middle class needs, as a result of the fact that we are the only nation in the industrialized world that does not guarantee health care to all of our people as a right of citizenship. As a result of the fact that while we have the most unequal distribution of wealth and income, we also, to our everlasting shame, have by far the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country on earth. That's what's going on. Unless we get our act together and stand up and fight back, this country is going to end up as an oligarchy with a few people on top controlling the economic and political life of this nation. So we are here together, not just for ourselves, for our generation. We are here for our kids, for my grandchildren, to say that is not what America is going to become. Deeply engaged in that challenge as one of the most progressive unions in our country. Here's the challenge. The right-wing agenda, in truth, and I say this knowing something about politics, is a fringe agenda. You go out back home, go to your towns and go to your cities back home, stand out on the street corner, and you ask people, how many of you think it is a good idea that at a time when the wealthiest people in this country have never had it so good, when their effective tax rate is the lowest in decades, how many of you think it is a great idea to do what Mr. Gingrich and Mr. Romney want, give more tax breaks to the rich, and at the same time, cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid? And the answer is, you're not going to find 5% of the people who believe that. And then you have people like Romney and Gingrich and many, many others in the House and the Senate who are successful politicians and who win elections. Now, how do you win an agenda by giving tax breaks to the billionaires, sending out jobs abroad, and cutting Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid? Well, a lot of ways they win it by splitting up working people on a whole lot of wedge issues. But what our offensive has got to be is a simple, straightforward, progressive agenda which speaks to the needs of working people and the middle class. And among other things, what is that going to be? Number one, at a time when real unemployment, not official unemployment, is 15%. If you count those people who give up looking for work, those people who are working part-time, they want to work full-time. We demand a jobs program rebuilding our infrastructure, putting skills. We demand to join the rest of the industrialized world with a single-payer healthcare system guaranteed. which says to corporate America, shut down in America, go to China, and we welcome you to bring those jobs back into this country. We want a trade policy. We want a trade policy which says to corporate America, if you want us to buy your products, start building them in the United States of America. Somebody who has voted against every damn trade agreement that's come up in 20th century. I was in the House at that time. Larry and I discussed these issues. And I can remember many of us saying, you know what they want to do? They want to bring wages, they want to make America competitive with Mexico and China. And the way they do it is not raising wages in the developing world. The way you do it is lowering wages in America, the race to the bottom. Some of you may have seen a piece in the paper a couple of weeks ago. This is what it said. It said General Electric, among some other companies, is happy to announce that they are expanding their manufacturing facilities in this country, creating a few thousand more manufacturing jobs. That's the good news. You know what the bad news is? You know what the wages being paid to those workers? New workers, 20, 30, 40% less than used to be the case. So our view is, no, we do not want to compete against China in terms of wages. We want a middle-class, livable wage here in the United States of America. Let me say a word about Citizens United. Some of you are familiar with that absurd Supreme Court decision. But there are 5 people in the United States